Welcome back to a Munchausen's Proxy, where I seem to be turning the channel into a Henry Cavill news hour. But once again, we need to talk about Henry Cavill. Not so much what he's got going on, and he does have things going on, but more what his goings on are doing as far as some of his other DC castmates. I don't know if you've seen Black Adam, but recently The Rock has been trying to convince people that the movie made money. Why does this matter? Because movies that don't make money don't get sequels. And Dwayne Johnson is desperately trying to make everyone think that his movie that had about a $200 million budget turned a profit when it did not even scrape by $400 million at the box office. For those of you who don't know how Hollywood works, when you put a movie out, you generally need to make at least twice as much as it cost. If it's a big budget movie with a lot of media, you might need to make about 2.5 times as much as it costs to make. Which means that a $200 million blockbuster, big spectacle comic book movie probably needed to break at least 450, 500 million to break even. Black Adam did not. And so this kind of his media campaign on Twitter and elsewhere was sort of obscured by the whole Henry Cavill being fired as Superman fallout. On top of that, you had today or yesterday leaks coming out of Netflix and The Witcher, in which the people running that show have been trying to tarnish Henry Cavill's reputation, framing him as difficult to work with and toxic. But that's a topic for another video. This one, I want to talk about my thoughts on Black Adam, which I recently saw, and I honestly think it making $400 million was pretty good for the crap fest that movie was. Why do I think it was a crap fest? Well, it had some high points, and they are few and far between. Sarah Shahi, who played the archaeologist/mother, was her usual good performer, doing the best she could with the bad script and limited role. Pierce Brosnan was and always has been a great actor, just as he is in this movie. As a matter of fact, he is probably easily the best thing about this movie. And then, surprisingly, you had an actor named Mohammed Amir playing Shahi's character's brother, and he was good for the comic relief. And that's about it. Just about every other actor besides Henry Cavill, and I'll get to him in a minute, was either a non-entity like Atom Smasher and Cyclone, where the entire movie could have been better off without them, or they were dragging the movie down. And in the dragging the movie down category were the two boys, Shahi's character's son and The Rock's character's son. The Rock's character's son being the more irritating of the two, and unfortunately they had him doing the prologue narration. If they really wanted that to stick, and it probably wouldn't have stuck anyway, because it was badly written and the scenes they chose to shoot for it were not that great. But if they really wanted it to stick, they really wanted it to make an impact on the movie, they should have had either The Rock or Pierce Brosnan, preferably Brosnan, doing that narration. Instead, they had the kid do it, and it was not good. Shahi's son's actor was less annoying. He had parts that were okay, but they basically ripped off the scenes between John Connor and the T-800 in Terminator 2, where he's basically trying to humanize the Terminator. Well, in this movie, they have the kid trying to update Black Adam, so to speak. And then you had Hawkman, who was sort of the... I don't want to call him a lead because Black Adam, played by The Rock, is the lead. But if you had a lead good guy in this movie, it was Hawkman. And he was arrogant and stiff and the very picture of toxic leadership. And because he is basically... he's basically written as a bureaucrat, somebody Amanda Waller sent to a place to get a problem fixed. And he's very much the hammer she reaches for when she doesn't have a Suicide Squad or can't convince somebody in the Justice League to do something for her. And he acts like it. Now, in certain movies, that type of character has its uses, but this is not one of those. Especially given the context of the setting and what was going on there. It just does not work. And then you had the script, which was more than a little mildly retarded, with poorly thought out plot, bad pacing, and actors, aside from those I've already mentioned, who did not and or could not execute it in anything resembling a compelling way. This movie also had the problem that Marvel's Eternals had, in that you are shoehorning what is supposed to be a group of superheroes who troubleshoots things around the world, being shoehorned into events after Justice League and Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad. Where the hell was the Justice League, or Justice Society, I should say? Where was the Justice Society when that crap was going on? Just like, where were the Eternals when the Snap was going on, or Ultron was going on, or New York was going on? And the explanations that the MCU came up with are probably not going to be any better than the explanations Warner Brothers comes up with to explain where the hell the JSA has been. You also had special effects that were spotty. I mean, some of them were okay, nothing special there. And the main reason I'm talking about this in this video is in connection with all the Cavill stuff. And that is, you had a cameo by Henry Cavill in the end credit scene, which winds up being completely and totally useless. Now, I know pre-James Gunn, it was to set up a Superman movie. And that was probably the brightest thing DC could do. Right now, they need a hit badly. Their last few films have not exactly been hitting it out of the park. I think the last really big hit that they had was Wonder Woman, or rather Aquaman the year after Wonder Woman. Second Wonder Woman movie crashed so hard they dropped it on HBO Max. The second Suicide Squad movie, which was pretty good, still didn't make them a whole lot of money. The first Suicide Squad movie was a mess. The Justice League was a mess. So it's been a long time since they had a genuine hit. I guess you could point to their first Shazam movie as being a hit, but it was a mild hit. It wasn't like a smack it out of the park hit. And that's what they need. They need a home run. The Batman was disappointing, and it's in a different universe from the main DC universe. The Joker was a hit, but that's not really a comic book movie. That's a drama about a dude losing his mind that they kind of just slapped the Joker on. And the sequel to it is probably going to bomb harder than Hiroshima, given that it's going to be a musical. So the best thing DC could have done was use the cameo at the end of Black Adam to set up an actual Superman movie, a positive, hopeful Superman movie, not the brooding, just dark, bleak Superman that we got in Man of Steel. And I really don't know if what James Gunn is doing is going to work. I think the first signs we'll see of whether it's going to work or not is the casting for Superman. Because the Superman movie will have to be the first movie out of the box. Because DC is hard rebooting the entire DC cinematic universe. Which brings me to the final point that had me wanting to talk about Black Adam. And that is, despite Henry Cavill being in the end credit scene of Black Adam, you now have 3 DC films coming out that are not only completely useless, they are pointless. Because DC is getting a hard reboot, none of those movies matter. I can't imagine James Gunn keeping any of the current DC actors. Everyone is going to have to get recast. Which means whatever goes on in Aquaman 2 doesn't matter. Whatever goes on in Shazam 2 doesn't matter. Whatever goes on in Flash really doesn't matter, since they've still got Ezra Miller in the thing. So these are all the thoughts that popped around in my brain after watching Black Adam on HBO Max the other day. And then seeing all of the stories that have been popping up surrounding Henry Cavill, his firing, the attempts by The Rock to convince everybody that Black Adam was a success, and the various announcements surrounding Aquaman reshoots and what they're doing with the Flash, and just the entire swampy mess that is DC Studios right now. And James Gunn has a hell of a job on his hands trying to straighten that mess out. And quite frankly, I don't know if anybody could do it. This is one serious mess that the clowns that ran DC Studios before Discovery bought Warner Brothers have made for Zaslav and his people. But that's all I've got to say for this video. If you like what I do here, please hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button so you get notified when new videos drop, and leave a comment or constructive criticism below, because I need all the help I can get with Mama Susan's algorithm, since I was sick for about a week and her monstrosity is hitting me hard. So I would really appreciate you doing all that, and I will see you in the next video. Tschüss.